Hello and welcome to the BSR Grand Tour here at Interlagos Live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Marco Barbnier with Sam Kumo on the cameras. And with the showdown looming ever closer, these races become more and more important. And of course, Marco, round this circuit, it's one that everyone likes, I think. I don't know anyone who dislikes this circuit. It's got a great blend of high downforce and low downforce. Great racing is guaranteed. You can overtake, you can defend around here, though very effectively, as we've seen in the past. I think it's a great venue for this round of the championship.
Hello everyone, yeah, I love commentating races at this track. I absolutely dislike racing it, but because of my terrible skills as a racing driver, and I think we are in for a great evening of racing. Of course, the usual Grand Tour format with 3 races, 2 will be 20 minutes long. First one, qualifying, is in progress right now. We'll have a random reverse for race 2, and then the race 2 finishing order will determine the starting grid for race 3, which will be a little bit longer, will be 35 minutes with a mandatory, well, I won't say mandatory, but it is recommended to stop. We saw last week at Indianapolis a couple of drivers trying for a no-stopper and failing basically with a couple of corners left in the race. So you are right, we are 3 rounds away from the showdown because we are here at Interlagos. We'll be next week at Motegi in Japan, and then in a couple of weeks we'll round up the regular season at Phillip Island, and then will be Okayama, Brands Hatch and Sebring, the 3 races that will determine the championship winner for this season. And speaking of championship season, as qualifying is coming to a close, I think we can show you the standings as of this race here, as of last race, of course, at Indianapolis, with a couple of things to notice. And we have 3 drivers who have changed car, and you can do that, it is permitted by the rules, but the penalty is very harsh. You lose all the championship points you scored. So Lee Deemer, Kip Stevens and Anwar Smith have switched car, and so their championship points have been wiped out, to be precise. So these drivers need to score, and need to score big in these final rounds of the season if they want to make the showdown. And we see now the standings here on the screen, with Josh Thompson is leading. You of course have Smith there, but he will be penalized come the end of the season. There's Lavalle in 3rd position, Kefenquin 4th, and then we have Robert Robinson in 5th position. Malcolm is in 6th, and Jamie Ayres, Richard Wormingham, Ralph Collian, Jacobson, Gray and Michael F. Doka rounding up the, I think this is the top 10. And for the Murray Walker Cup, we have Josh Thompson and Anwar Smith. Again, we see his points deducted. Kefenquin, Lavalle and Deemer rounding up the top 5. So, interesting decision, of course, from these drivers, Sam, I would say, in switching cars so late into the season, but I'm hearing from the drivers that the BMW really is the car to beat in this final part of the racing season.
Yeah, I think we've seen that in the past couple of rounds, with Josh Thompson, of course, getting the triple at Belle Isle, and then Anwar Smith doing it last time out at Indianapolis. So it certainly does seem to be the car to go for. And you know, if qualifying is anything to judge by, Josh Thompson's got pole position by quite a long margin. We'll come on to that in a little bit once qualifying is over. But yeah, the BMW certainly being suited by a lot of the drivers out there. I must say, Marco, the championship, the showdown, is really hotting up now, because unfortunately Anwar Smith isn't here, and I think that might just rule him out for the rest of the season. I don't want to rule him out because he could have a couple of great weekends coming up, but I feel as though he's got a lot of points to make up. But you know, we've got just like Wormingham and Cullinan and Evdoka, and of course Deemer's had his points wiped, and a couple of other drivers who could still get up into those top 6, and you know, they kind of need to get on with it, particularly Richard Wormingham. He starts on the front row today, and you know, that's just what he needed.
Absolutely, and you know, when it gets closer and closer to crunch time, these drivers know that every single mistake is going to be very, very costly for them. So qualifying today is very important, and of course it will be very, very important to get a clean weekend all in all, even with the reverses and all that stuff. As we see the drivers lining up on the grid, so I think we have the starting grid for you, and Josh Thompson is in pole position, 0.7 of a second in front of Richard Wormingham, then is Chris Danes, Michael Gray, Steve LaValle, and Michael Evdoka in the third row. Then is Stuart McFadden, Jamie Ayres, Lee Dimmer, Lane O'Connor, Ralph Cunningham, and Scott Malcolm rounding up the top 12. Then we have Bart Ehrman in 13th position, Colby Robinson is in 14th, Keith Stevens is in 15th, and Lee Woodburn is in 16th position. Then Max Wright, Anthony Jacobson, and Richard Gaffenko round up this 19-car grid for this Brazilian round. And that first corner, I fear, is going to be one point of major contention today, Sam, because especially at the start of the race, it's going to be absolutely very, very interesting. And I don't see the pace car in front of the field.
Oh, it's going to be a standing start, I think. I'm not going to criticize, I think, Lee, who does this. He's made this mistake a couple of times, but no blames. It makes it more exciting for us. It's going to be a standing start, this one. Just got a couple more drivers to get on the grid, I think. Max Wright and Richard Gaffenko at the back of the field. Watch out for him making his way through the field. But Josh Thompson hasn't really got too much to fight for, apart from maybe get some bonus points going into the showdown. I think that Murray Walker Cup that Mark was going through earlier on, which Thompson's in, that's going to be the bonus points that the drivers get going into the showdown. The points aren't completely reset. I think the engines are just rising, and here we go. Away we go. Josh Thompson, not away, great, and who's that from the second row of the grid? That's Michael Gray, an awesome start from fourth on the grid. He moves up into second into the first corner. Wormingham's not got a good start.
The contact there.
And that could be big trouble. Wormingham's round. Danes has recovered, and another Ferrari got involved in that one as well. But Wormingham, if he wants his showdown chances to be kept alive, he needs some resuscitation now.
Yeah, we saw last week, we saw Chris Danes having a little bit of trouble in all the races we had, and today it looks... another crash there! And who's that? Is that a Ferrari? I think that's McFadden teleporting back to the pits, so not a good start from the Ferraris today, as Evdoka has jumped to third position after the chaos, and Thompson and Gray have a little bit of a gap as LaValle tries to make a move. Looks like Chris Danes doesn't have that much damage, but still he can't have a clean race after 3 meetings at Indianapolis, and now this one. Contact at the start once again, and first corner was going to be point of contention between the drivers. Everybody wants to have the perfect racing line, and of course mistakes there can happen and will happen, I think, all night long.
Yeah, definitely, especially if we see some more standing starts. That would be fantastic, but that was an incredible turn one, and let's see if Steve LaValle can maybe challenge Michael Evdoka going into turn one. Evdoka started in 6th, he's up into the top 3. Will he have to go defensive here? If you do go defensive here, there's not that much that the other driver can do, but LaValle's trying to do something, and he's going to go down the inside, but he was very wise there. I was thinking a couple of times that he might just jab into the back corner of Evdoka's car, but what a run that is from the center S for Steve LaValle. And now he's going to look to the inside. Fortunately, no drivers coming out of the pits. Evdoka defending hard, but LaValle round the outside into 4, just backs out of it, and now he can get the cutback, heading down and then up the hill. But it's not too much of an overtaking spot here. Evdoka spent the majority of this race defending. He's still having to. At the moment, it's working very well, Marco.
Absolutely, as we see Danes and Jamie Ayres catching back to these two guys here, so it's going to be a 4-way battle for P3, as in front Thompson has a little bit of a gap on Gray that he made a little bit of a mistake at the beginning of this lap, so now the breathing room for Thompson, but the battle is of course here. And we see this very nice looking Ferrari. I see some damage on the front left of the car, but nothing major, it seems. So I knew that Chris had a lot of pace, Chris Danes had a lot of pace at Indianapolis, but like I said, he couldn't express his pace because of the numerous incidents he had in the 3 races last week. Today, once again, a crash at the beginning, but his car looks fine, and let's see if he can catch up to Lavalli and Evdoka as the Mercedes tries a move on the other Mercedes, I think, trying to set up a move on the inside. So different lines once again here from Evdoka and Lavalli here.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how these two fight against one another. Stuart McFadden, not very happy on the chat, and that's just an invitation, Sam, I think, to go back to the first lap, perhaps, to just see what happened to McFadden, because we saw a little bit, we kind of saw him spearing off into the wall, but we didn't see exactly how that contact was initiated for Stuart McFadden. And of course, now he's retired from this race. I'll make him ineligible for the next for the next two for the reverse grid in the next race. So he's already been hit there, and I wonder, Marco, was that already enough damage to take him out of the race? He seems to be okay down this back straight though.
Well, yeah, he had more damage, I think, than Danes. It was a little bit slow, of course, because of the accident coming down the Reta Opposta, and then was like punted out. That was not good. He was in the braking zone or getting into the braking zone, got hit from behind, and his car was a bit upset there. And luckily, I say, generally a crash like this on the first lap wipes out like half of the field. Instead, he found the hole basically between all the other cars and went into the wall on his own as a around.
And he's just hit the grass as well, which has properly sent him around. Now he's in a very awkward position, and he's going to have to wait for the whole field to come past him. Michael Evdoka, this is awful for him. Yeah, already Richard Warmingham with issues, but now Evdoka will fall down into 16th position.
Yeah, he needs to look at his relative, because the wall there and of course the elevation change makes it very difficult for him to see the cars coming from the main straight there. So big mistake there from Evdoka. He was defending, and he was defending very, very hard, and now he's lost a lot of positions. He's back in 16th place now, and he's back on the track. I think you can see on the track map on the right side of your screens as we are on board with Danes. And now Danes is very, very close to the valley there. He had to check up a bit the white Mercedes, the GT Omega Mercedes, because of course he wanted to avoid the spinning Evdoka. He did a great job, but now of course the two cars behind him have closed the gap, and now he has to be defending instead of attacking.
Yeah, and of course Jamie Ayres looking very competitive just behind. Ayres has had a good run of form recently, I must say. I don't think he's in the showdown positions at the moment. I will just quickly check. And yeah, Ayres is currently, once Smith gets disqualified, Ayres is currently in the final showdown spot. So it's not confirmed, and with drivers like Evdoka, Cullinan, and a couple of others as well, Warmingham currently outside of those positions. Gray as well, currently running in second in this race. He needs to make sure that he finishes well today, and he is trying to gain that position to move up into the top four. Starts in 8th position, wasn't a brilliant qualifying, but he's trying to move up into the top four now, down the outside, going into 5 and 6. Sorry, 6 and 7. Not quite close enough. And of course, Marco, we commentated an awesome iGPS race around this circuit, where we saw one driver could not make the move for about 45 laps despite being clearly faster. And it is a weird circuit, this, because you would think it'd be easy to overtake, but actually it's very difficult to force the move when the other driver is defending.
Yeah, the main passing spot, unless you are really, really aggressive and go for a dive bomb, is the back straight. So really it's not the back straight, but basically after the Senna S you get the Curva do Sol, and then you get there, and you need to get a very, very good exit. Position your car perfectly on the Senna S and then on the Curva do Sol. Need to get the draft, and then you can try for a move there at the end of the straight. Or you can try to make a move here at the Senna S, but it's difficult because you need to be very, very close to the car in front, and it's not easy. The draft is not very, very strong on this track, and the fact that the final corner is a bit banked makes it a little, I think, it's easier to take the corner, but it's the speed differential, I think, is not that much between the two cars. As we see now, Ayres going for a move very brave here on the inside. That was not a passing spot there, but still is very close, very close to the Ferrari. I think he'll try to go for a move as soon as he gets an opportunity. He doesn't need to get too aggressive, because this can result in a crash.
Yeah, this does mean that they've dropped off the back of Steve Lavelli, so it looks as though it's going to have a nice little double podium despite the issues for Richard Warring. He is up into 12th position, by the way. We haven't looked at Warringham too much on that last lap. He was the 4th fastest driver out there, one of only 4 drivers to be in the 29s. And yeah, was only slower than the top 3 drivers, along with Ayres as well. And here comes Ayres to the outside of Danes. He's got a much better run this time now. Can he just carry the momentum around the outside here? No, he's just going to back out of it, and maybe listening to Marco, seeing that the best overtaking opportunity is coming out of pit, getting into the slipstream now, Jamie Ayres.
Great run coming out of the corner. Let's see the defending here by the Ferrari way down the inside. They touch! Oh, amazing!
I can't believe it. What has happened there?
Amazing.
And they need to make sure that they get out of the way of O'Connor and Cullinan, who will be going through Malcolm and Dima.
Oh!
And Delman's going to hit him. Delman has hit him, and that's involved Robinson as well.
Oh. That was unnecessary from Ayres. I don't think.
And Cullinan's off as well. Sorry.
No, well, I don't know what the crash. We'll talk about it later. But after that, I don't think that the Mercedes set. I don't know. Maybe was a little bit frustrated, but getting back onto the racing line at such low speed in the fastest part of the track, basically, with cars going for fast moves. You know how it is on the back straight. That was not a smart move, and the Ferrari is completely destroyed as well. So these two guys here have essentially destroyed the race. We see the replay here. So Jamie Ayres is the Mercedes. You see the green Mercedes goes on the outside very, I won't rush to make a call on this, but that was completely avoidable.
Oh yeah.
And this was even more avoidable. You see Ayres was making headlights, I think, to the Ferrari there, and still making headlights here, or maybe hit the limiter accidentally. I have no idea. What a weird crash, and these two drivers basically threw a podium spot or a chance for a podium in the bin for no reason, I think, because that was completely avoidable. Bad crash, and this promotes, not promotes, it gives Lavalli the security, I think, of a podium position, and promotes O'Connor, Cullinan and everybody else up 1 spot, or up 2 spots.
Yeah, what an incredible incident that was. I must say, from my perspective, at least, it was, of course, completely avoidable. It just seemed as though Ayres wanted to squeeze Danes to the inside as much as possible, just to give us a tighter turn in as possible for his rival. And unfortunately, it seemed like Danes actually came across in the end, not wanting to be squeezed quite that much. But yeah, an incident that has taken them both out of the race. Delman, I think, may have a bit of damage. He has dropped behind Warring, who's up into 8th position. I was talking about him being in, 14th? Just a couple of laps ago. Robinson's got big damage. Robinson went into the back of Delman after Delman went into the back of Ayres, and they're now very much limping their way around, significantly down on speed. And they've just got to hope that Max Wright, Lee Woodburn, Kip Stevenson, Michael Docker don't catch them by the end of the race, but they are losing over a second a lap currently.
Now, of course, if this happened in the 3rd race of the evening, you could go get your pit stop and get your fast repair, but in these 2 shorter races, it is, I think, better to work with the damage, even though this car is completely smashed, the BMW here. And going back to that IGPS race we talked about a couple of minutes ago, I was really surprised, because in that race we saw a lot of very aggressive defending on the inside, on the left side of the track, on the back straight. And yeah, most of the times the other car, the car that was trying to make the pass, squeezed the car on the left side there, and we didn't see a single crash. And that was with open wheelers, so you know the slightest of contact can send cars flying left and right. Today I think that was a similar case. The car was defending very on the left side, and the Mercedes tried to squeeze him, and you know it takes just an inch or maybe sometimes even less than that, because there can be phantom contacts and everything like that. The speed is very high. That was very unfortunate. It got it left us without two very big protagonists of the race, as Delman once again going for the move. So hopefully the lesson will be learned for race 2 and 3, because that was a very bad crash.
Yeah, and it involved a lot of drivers as well. Currently, Max Wright really closing in on these drivers at the minute. The really lucky drivers out there. And Faith Cullinan started in 11th position. I think he's been the luckiest of all. He really ought to buy a lottery ticket, I think, tonight. Because if you remember the incident earlier on with, who was it? It was McFadden, wasn't it? Who sped across, just missed Cullinan. Here he is, just picking up from other drivers' mistakes, including Warmingham and Abdoka, Ayres and Danes. Finds himself in 5th position. That's really what he needs to accumulate the points that he wants. And so to Lane O'Connor, who we should really give a shout out to. It does mean that we've got an XVR 234. Lane O'Connor hasn't not had a particularly good season whatsoever, particularly in this season. Struggling a little bit in the Euro V8 as well, which will be on Saturday, by the way. Just a little bit of promotion. And Lane O'Connor driving really well there in P4. This will be by far his best result in the championship. It might even be his best result ever in this championship after contending season 1 as well. Delman really close on Robinson now, I'm just looking at. And they're still going at it, and Robinson has now, finally made that move. And Wright 2.5 seconds behind, so Wright actually made a mistake on that last lap, and Stevens and Evdoka, well, they could be on the tail of these guys by the end of the race if they really get a move on.
Yeah, Stevens is really pushing, 0.30, 0.30 for him, and Evdoka a little bit slower. Wright lapped in the 32s if I'm not mistaken, so he must have made an error here and there. And Kip Stevens' car looks a little bit second-hand as well. His brand new BMW that debuted mid-round at the second race of the Indianapolis meeting, and still has not got a new paint job, I think. So hopefully we'll add that for the next races. As I said, lots of drivers switching to the BMW, and of course BMW and Mercedes have somewhat the same structure of the front engine car that I really love, and it's providing to be very fast. I have been hearing that GT3 drivers, very fast drivers, prefer the Audi right now, but no Audis on the field, I think, as we have Malcolm defending from Warmingham here on the front stretch as we enter, I think, the final 3 minutes of the race.
Yeah, I thought the Audi was OP as well, but here comes Warmingham, and he's really recovered well. He's certainly going to be on the reverse grid. He's going to be, well, unless we get a tiny reverse grid, of course. He's up into 7th position, recovering a few points. And could he even get Lee Deemer maybe just ahead on that last lap? Warmingham was about half a second faster than Deemer, who, to be fair, has got good pace, because Deemer won the championship at this round last season in the Showdown. I don't think he's going to win the championship this season. I don't think he's going to qualify for the Showdown, unfortunately, although he's still just about got a chance. There's so many drivers who are just on the cusp, who are within range, and if you can get a few more 6th positions, Lee Deemer, you might well have a chance, although he's going to do well to keep behind Richard Warmingham. Just looking at other battles out there, isn't really too much, really. I think Stevens catching up to Wright might be the only battle, I think, out there right now.
For what it's worth, the Audi right now is the only GT3 car I can keep on the track, so that is a testament to the worth of that car. But yeah, once again, and I also love the V10 Audi Scream That's typical of that car. As you see, Stevens closing on right, and Evdoka right behind him. So Evdoka didn't get any kind of damage in his crash, but of course he had to wait so much to rejoin, and it was a sensible decision on Michael's part. Too often we see drivers just push the gas pedal, get back onto the racing line, especially in the dangerous corners. Now at 29.8, he was the fastest guy, I think, on the track in this lap, especially in this little group here. We see from position 9 to position, I would say 13, 12. They are very, very close, and even though it's only 1 minute left, I think maybe the leader got the white flag. We'll see. He's coming to the... He didn't, because he's coming to the final corner right now, so this will be the white flag. So final lap starting right now.
Yep, we haven't talked too much about Josh Thompson today, although we've had a few races like this season where he's kind of just driven off into the distance and it's minded his own business. And he's been very, very dominant out there today. Michael Gray some 10 seconds behind with Steve Labelli, putting a little bit of pressure on his teammate in these closing stages. Half a second faster on that last lap, but Labelli just getting held up earlier on has really gifted Gray that second position after awesome start from the second row of the grid. But I think Cullinan versus Dima versus Warmium, which is kind of it's the opposite way round in terms of pace, because Cullinan's falling back into these two. Warmium should really be on the podium, but instead he's just trying to recover whatever points he can, and they are closing. But I just feel as though, Marco, just like the battle for 10th, 11th and 12th and 13th, I feel as though we just need that one extra lap after this race, because I don't think they're going to quite catch up in time.
Yeah, it looks like it should be Dimmer that has to worry about Wormingham more than Cullinan has to worry about Dimmer. At the moment, the BMW is showing good pace, and I think don't say he's closing in on O'Connor as we get to the final corner for the leader, Josh Thompson.
Yeah, and across the line comes Josh Thompson. Awesome drive here at Interlagos. And that's now, I think, 7 consecutive BMW wins, because 4 of them have been Josh Thompson. So brilliant performance from him. Some 11 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Seems as though Cullinan is going to hold off Dima. Stevens is close on right, and they have just got a couple more corners to go. Cullinan is going to hold out for 5th position. How he needed that result, but Stevens is close on right, and right maybe it's going to be a bit vulnerable. It's going to be a race to the line. Evdoka is just too far behind. He needed 1 extra lap, but Stevens, with that low-powered BMW and with this aerodynamic damage that he has, is just going to finish in 12th position behind Max Wright in 11th. Marco, that was a really good race 1. Often race 1 can be a bit dull, and a bit forgettable, and it can be almost a little bit tedious, but that was anything but. That was instant galore, and a few drivers who had who were involved in those incidents had to make their way up through the field. But Thompson, as so often this season, was very much unchallenged and took the race victory easily.
Absolutely wild race 1, and this is, I think, the byproduct of what you were talking about before. The fact that this track doesn't give you that many passing opportunities, and everybody was trying to make the moves, especially on that backstretch like we were talking before. So this was a very, very good race 1, and we'll see race 2 and race 3 what they have in store for us as we get you the final results of the meeting, of the first race of the meeting. Josh Thompson is the winner, 11 seconds over Michael Gray and Steve Lavelli and Lane O'Connor. 3 XVR drivers there. Then Ralph Cullinan, Lee Dimmer, Richard Wormingham, Scott Markle, Connie Robinson, Bart Hellman. This is the top 10. After that is Max Wright, Kip Stevens, Michael Evdoka. Good race until the mistake. Lee Woodburn, Chris Daines, Anthony Jacobson, Jamie Ayres, and Stuart McFadden in 18th position. Of course, he crashed in the first lap. And Richard Gafenko, I think, did not take the race start. So I think we are ready for our magic wheel.
Yes, I think last week it was it a full -2 or something? It was a big one anyway. Hopefully gives a chance to a couple of drivers out there.
Yes, and we are spinning the wheel. And it is 18, and I believe that will be full.
Yes, so I've never learnt the rules in this stage. So if a driver's one lap down, are they eligible?
I think so, because the rule book that I have in front of me says reverse is only for drivers that finish no more than 1 lap down. So I think that Jamie Ayres should be okay with a pole position in the second race.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome for Jamie Ayres at least. He will be delighted that after the issues in race 1, I'll be Anthony Jacobson on the front row. Watch out for Michael Abdoka as well. And of course, Josh Thompson starting from 17th on the grid. That could be quite something to watch. Do not miss it. I think this second race at Interlagos is going to be very much one to watch. And we'll be back in 20 minutes time for race 2 of the evening.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Would it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerritt at the line.
Welcome back to the BSR Grand Tour here at Interlagos, live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Michael Babner and Sam Kumo. We are just gridding up for the second race of the evening. Race 1 was comfortably on by Josh Thompson. And actually, looking at the grid, he's going to start on pole position for this one. So no reverse grid, which is really disappointing. We had a 17-car reverse, but instead he's going to be on the pole position with Michael Abdoka second. Richard Warmingham will start in third with Jamie Ayres fourth. Steve Lavelli fifth with Colin Robinson sixth. Next, Bart Delman, Stuart McFadden, Lee Deemer, Chris Daines, Max Wright, Kip Stevens, Reeve Cullinan, Lane O'Connor, Anthony Jacobson, Lee Woodburn, Michael Gray and Scott Malcolm rounding out the grid. But I'm really disappointed, Marco, because it was a 17-car reverse. Josh Thompson's going to be starting right at the back, and now he's going to be starting from the pole position. I fear as though this is going to be a bit of a Josh Thompson-esque race where he sprints off in the distance. Hopefully not.
Well, even though we got Michael Abdoka, Warmingham, so I don't know what the criteria was, because I don't remember I remember Thompson taking the pole in the first race, I think, but I don't remember Abdoka being so up in qualifying, so I don't know what the criteria was. But the good thing is that we have now a pace car driver, so this will be contested under the normal rules of the rolling start that we typically see in this series. And let's see, this was really a wild card, this grid here, and we'll see what kind of race we have. 20 minutes, so of course, if nothing changes, if everything stays the same.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so they're getting back of line penalties or something, EOL. I can't remember what that stands for, but it means that they have to drop to the back of the pack. So Josh Thompson has been given one. I don't know if we're going green this time. We'll keep an eye out, but Josh Thompson is the only driver who's got one so far, and they are very slow currently.
Tell you what, this is all the recipe for a disaster in the first corner if we go green right now.
Right, at the moment, it's Evdoka from the pole. Richard Warming will be starting in second position. Two drivers outside the showdown at the moment. Can they score the points they need? Green flag is out, and Evdoka is away well, but Warmingham is challenging, going into turn one. Ayres around as well with another XVR driver looking to the inside as well. Evdoka has got the line he wants, and Ayres is going to go down the inside of Warmingham. He doesn't want another incident, but Warmingham has gone through into the lead. An instant for or a mistake from Evdoka clearly coming out of turn two, and Warmingham takes the lead of the race, but can defend going into turn four. Evdoka sees a gap at Ayres still attacking. Somehow he's still in third position, with Steve Lavelli just sitting in behind. Daleman is in fifth position, with Daines in sixth.
So everybody was behaving, notwithstanding the chaos that we have with the starting grid and the end of line penalty for Josh Thompson.
Oh man, that's McFadden, I think.
He's Daines,
No,
I
Daines,
think,
yeah.
sadly, so I was just speaking about everybody behaving, and I think that was one of the crashes we've seen more frequently tonight. So the car in the braking zone and the car behind hit it from behind and upsetting the balance and sending me into the grass or into the runoff area there. No damage, I think, for Daines, or nothing major, but of course now he's in last position, so he has a long climb in front of him. And once again, I have to say this has been the recurring theme of his past couple of meetings here at Indianapolis, having contact in the opening part of the race, as Warmingham is leading from Evdoka and Ayres 1, 2 and 3, with Josh Thompson up to P12 right now.
Yep, good start for Thompson after starting down in 18th position, of course. And he's trying to have a go at Max Wright now, with Reeve Cullinan just ahead as well, with apparently sitting in 10th position. Thompson should have this move around the outside of Max Wright. And he's to make sure he doesn't get contact, and he has got contact, and he's gone round as Thompson. And if this race wasn't hard enough already, he's going to have to restart this one. He's going to have to come back to the grid once again. So Thompson being demoted to the back of the chain twice now.
Yeah, and of course, remember that we will set the grid for race 3 with the finishing results of race 2. unless we have another kind of unless the race direction says otherwise, as Thompson was going wide once again. So Wormingham, Evdoka, Ayres and Thompson, of course, looking at an uphill battle, not only in this race, but looks like it will be difficult for him even in race 3.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to sound like a bit of an old man here, but you don't remember the time, or you weren't around the times when Richard Wormingham was winning races just like this in this race last season. He was on a great run, but we'll get back onto that because Ayres is under pressure from Lavelli, who's going around the outside into turn 1, but Ayres just about hangs on. But yeah, Wormingham last season was fantastic at getting pole position and then just securing the race win, not making a single mistake, and just almost being like a Jorge Lorenzo, I'd say, of the season, just maintaining the lead. And a very stable victory for him in season 1 at least, but hasn't really worked out like that this season. He has got a very good position currently out in the lead of the race. Delman under pressure from McFadden. He's having a really good race out there. And Robinson, Diemer and Stevens and Cullinan as well, all queuing up behind.
Yeah, McFadden, of course, looking to redeem himself after his crash in race 1. That wasn't really his fault, as he's got Delman in front of him. The Mercedes there looking for a move, the Ferrari, the black Ferrari there, and basically Delman is in P5 and has a big queue of cars behind him, and a big gap to the car in 4th position. So all these drivers are looking to make the move and maybe utilize the final 15 minutes of the race to go catch those 4 leading guys.
Yeah, because they are going to be fighting, I think, at some point in this race, so they can just get clear of Delman, who has really maybe not improved necessarily this season, but at least for a rookie in this race has done a very good job, and Robinson has tapped around McFadden. Oh, that's so disappointing for Stewart, having such a good run. You can see just a small tap like that has demoted him down into 10th position, and he's all over the place still, and he's going to lose it again, McFadden. And after a disappointing race 1 where he was taken out unfairly twice, he's going to be taken out again, and what can that guy do to catch a break?
Well, he's like he's having a target on his back tonight, and I'm sure we will hear from him in the race chat on YouTube very, very soon. Wormingham, Evdoka, very close, with Evdoka getting closer and closer, and looking for a move with Jamie Ayres losing just a bit of ground, and Lavalli with him in 4th position. So 2 mini groups here at the front, even though they are very, very close. These top 4 guys, it looks like Stevens has made a mistake and lost a couple of positions. He is dropped to 10th as of this moment. And also Delman is still holding on to that P5. But look at the little gap he created for himself after that mistake there by McFadden. Once again,
Robinson dropping down, sorry.
Yeah.
I think he may have just had a small off, actually. I thought he may have hit the wall. There's Thompson getting involved as well, trying to go around the outside of Max Wright, and we've also got a little bit of a battle up ahead, and Thompson swoops around the outside, and didn't end well last time with Max Wright. It's ended much better this time. It's ended with a 13th position for him, and that was just ahead. It was it Cullinan getting past Gray, I believe, or something like that, something involving Cullinan, I believe in. Now Thompson will be onto the back of Robinson.
Yeah, Thompson making a good comeback drive after his penalty and then his mistake early, or his contact with another car, I should say, earlier in the race. Now up to P12 and looking at Lane O'Connor going very, very wide here. Gotta be very careful not to upset the car by braking basically in the marbles and the dirty stuff on the outside, as we hear some tires squealing up front, but no real position change, as Kip Stevens here on your cameras. He is behind the Ferrari of Danes and in front of O'Connor and Thompson. Very close battles here as we are entering the 8th minute of the race, lap 6.
Yeah, Thompson looking to make up another position here. Already got past Robinson. It's up O'Connor, and he will just go down the inside. And next up after that will be Kip Stevens. A little bit wide maybe for Thompson. Is he going to be tapped around? He is, and oh my goodness me. I've never seen this much unluck for one Joe, let alone two drivers. And Thompson staying stationary for a while. And well, if it's race 2 chances weren't wrecked, his race 3 chances aren't looking too good either.
And we see a bit of damage on the front right of his BMW. So this hit was a bit more significant than the other one. And not only that, I see a lot of front end damage on his car. If I remember correctly, on his previous crash, he just went on the escape road and then back on the track without hitting anything. And now he's severely damaged as we go back to the battle for the lead with Wormingham and Evdoka. 0.3 of a second between these two, as Evdoka using all the track available and even some of the runoff area there to get as good an exit of the corner as he can. But I see on the straight line, it seems like Wormingham's Mercedes has a bit more power, a bit more speed.
Yeah, pulling away comfortably is Wormingham, and actually just behind Ayres versus Lavelli. It's really close. Lavelli has gone to the inside of Jamie Ayres and has made that move stick. So Lavelli up into P3, and now he can try to help out maybe his teammate Wormingham just ahead. And here was the move then. I think it was pretty regular down the inside, not too much defense put up by Ayres, and Lavelli up into P3 now. Also, Cullinan versus Danes is very close.
Yeah, we have basically 3 battles, all very, the first 2 guys, 3rd and 4th, and then 7th and 8th. With the cars in between a little bit scattered, but they are still very, very close, so I wouldn't say they are... Oh, and there's an off there by Dimmer with Cullinan going for the inside, and there's contact.
And maybe going past the pair of them could be Chris Danes, but no, can't quite get past Cullinan.
Cullinan saw the gap, went for it, and there was contact, but luckily that was not very hard contact, so the drivers were able to save their cars. And now Danes, who has been so unlucky in this past week, and this in race 1 also, is looking to gain an advantage, as the first 2 guys are lapping basically identically. Good run there from the Ferrari on the outside here on the front stretch.
Oh, there's going to be contact behind as well.
Yeah.
And
Danes made
now, and Cullinan's around.
Wow.
Oh dear.
Oh, this has been calamity corner in race 2. In race 1 we had a lot of problems on the backstretch, but in race 2 it's been the Senna's that has provided with plenty of action, as we see the 2 teammates side by side. Oh!
Dimmer off. That was Gray hitting him, and Gray's had enough. Oh dear. I think he may have pushed out another drive going into turn 1 as well. Or he was the one being pushed out, I don't know, but Michael Gray is out of the race either way. Well, we keep on going away from this lead battle because so much is going on. This lead battle is enough. It's so intense because with 8.5 minutes to go, we really don't know who's going to win this one. 2.5 seconds behind us, Steve Lavelli. And right now, Evdoka cannot nail that turn 12. And it's just not getting close enough down into turn 1. We've seen plenty of moves into turn 1, but for some reason, despite looking like the faster driver, Evdoka cannot get within passing range.
I was watching the YouTube stream on my left, and I saw basically lack of concentration from Gray. He clipped the grass on under braking, and of course this was all stemming from the contact. I think a couple of seconds before that, you lose concentration. He basically the right side of his car on the gas in this corner, he lost it, and then hit his teammate, unfortunately, going into the corner. So an unfortunate crash, and warming up and Doka, like you said, doing their own race, and Michael is close. I don't know if he's waiting for his opportunity or it's just, oh, here he goes. Good defending from Birmingham, so he's trying to make the pass. I am not sure all the time if drivers are waiting.
Yeah, Marco, you're just breaking up a little bit.
Not good.
Yeah, we can still understand you, but it's yeah, just breaking up a little bit. But yeah, Warmingham, just to continue your point, yeah, Docker certainly looking for the move on Warmingham, but oh, he's even further behind coming out of turn 12 this time. Heading up the hill through this 13, he's 6.5 tenths behind, and you know that's yeah, not going to be within passing range for anyone, even someone like Josh Thompson, who, by the way, has got himself back up into 13th position. He's had to overtake a couple of drivers, including Lane O'Connor 3 times already in this race after all of his issues. Scott Malcolm having a really good run in P9. He's got ahead of Colin Robinson then, and just behind him is Max Wright and Lee Woodburn. So Malcolm having another good round, and we'll just because we do like Scott's on Apex Racing TV. Always works very hard for his results, and he is looking very strong for a showdown spot just because of these consistent results, and so too is Colin Robinson just behind him. Those two have really improved as this season has gone on, and they need to make sure that they don't hit each other off, because they need all the points they can get to finish in the top 6 come the end of round 9 of the championship.
Hopefully my mic is sorted.
Yep, sounds better.
Apologies. Italian connections are shocking sometimes, especially on Sunday night. But the action is going on still on the track, so that's what we're really caring about. So Doka and Birmingham are so close, they are basically on top of each other on the mini-map as we enter the final 5 minutes of the race.
Here we go. This is how far behind Doka needs to be. He has not had a chance like this. Richard Warmingham isn't the sternest defender, but good credit to him. He is defending here. Can Doka look to the inside? There was a little bit of space, but he hasn't gone for it, and breaks very early into turn 1. He's all lining this one up, but very clever driving from Warmingham. He just stopped it on the apex there, and now Doka hasn't really got the momentum he wanted. He's still losing time. Now the slipstream will kick in, and he has now got the pace advantage. He can look to the inside, into turn 4, Michael Doka, but he's just a little bit earlier on the brakes. Richard Warmingham holds on for now. Is there any chance maybe going into 6 and 7? The slipstream, in fact, just not kicking in until pretty late, and he's late on the brakes as well, Doka, but that's what Doka needs, isn't it? He needs to get that close coming out of turn 12, and he's going to have more chances later on.
Absolutely. He's very, very fast. He was very respectful there at the end of the backstretch. He could have gone for a dive bomb, but in the meantime, I think that Lavalli is closing on these two guys. Not by much, but he is coming.
Yes, the gap. Yeah, it's certainly come down. 1.2 seconds now. Okay, so this is getting interesting now, because those two fighting has invited Steve Lavelli to join in. Warmingham has got a little bit of a bigger gap to Doka this time. It's 3 tenths across the line, I think. And Doka wasn't close enough last time. Warmingham takes that very wide turn in to turn 1, and Doka's gone so deep there. Can he get it stopped? He has. What a move from Michael. That was out of nowhere. I thought he was going to completely miss the corner or wreck Richard Warmingham. Let's just see this one. Was he late on the brakes, or was Warmingham just super early? He was super late on the brakes, and wow, that was incredible from Michael Tucker there.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I think Warmingham got a bit scared, and you can see by the fact that he basically stopped in the middle of the corner. He saw this red and blue car coming on the inside, and he said, okay, let's avoid a crash. I'll let you go, and I'll try for a move later in the race, even though we are like 3 minutes away from the white flag, so not a lot of time left, and Lavalli is there.
Yeah, this is a proper 3-way battle. I assume the XPR drivers aren't going to cost themselves the race victory here. I doubt they're going to really fight each other for P2, and P1 is right there ahead in the form of Michael Evdoka, warming him. He is strong through that turn 12, I think, and Evdoka's wide, and he's going to have a chance to come back now, is Richard warming him. Through turn 13 they go, and they're going to be side by side. Can Lavelli get involved in this one? That's what he needs to do. But Warmingham with the advantage with the pace around the outside. Evdoka came from out of nowhere into turn 1. He's alongside, this time on the inside, and he's going to be late on the brakes. He's a lot more competent on the brakes than Warmingham. But can Warmingham get the drive now? Down the hill, through turn 2, through turn 3. And the gap is just extended a little bit. It's 0.2 of a second. Lavelli could not get involved that time round. And now we see from his point of view, Warmingham trying to force the move, and he's almost clipped the grass there. Almost goes into the back of Evdoka. But Warmingham looking really strong, and that turn 12 is a real strength of his. And that's why you want to be strong around this lap, Marco.
Yeah, hopefully the XVR guys are on the radio with each other. And they know, Warmingham I think knows, hopefully knows that he can go for a move without having to worry about Lavelli behind him. Because that would be odd, to say the least, if Lavelli was racing with Warmingham. And Evdoka is making mistakes previous lap and this lap as well, going into the grass here once again. And Warmingham might go for a move down here. I tell you what, it's a lot easier staying in. It's almost like it's easier to stay behind for Evdoka than to stay in front today in this race, because he's made a couple of mistakes, as I think the white flag is in the air.
Yep, final lap coming up. Is this Warmingham's last chance? Quarter of a second behind across the line. Can he look to the inside? Evdoka goes defensive, and that's just going to compromise his line through the center S. But once again, absolutely nails his braking point there. Warmingham still behind, and I don't think he's going to be close enough going into turn 4. He will get the slipstream. Lavelli just watching behind. You can see Jamie Ayres. Could he have been involved in this battle if he was just a little bit faster? Maybe, but right now it's looking like Warmingham has not got an answer to Evdoka. So half a lap to go, half a lap for Warmingham to take back that race lead, the race lead that he lost to Michael Evdoka. Evdoka went for a daring move down the inside into turn 1. But he has not been able to find the move since, despite getting side by side into turn 1. That's been as close as he's got. And unless he can get some incredible run coming out of turn 12, I think it's going to be Michael Evdoka to take the race victory. Warmingham is not close. Evdoka closing in on the race victory. He hasn't taken too many this season. It's been a frustrating season for Michael Evdoka, but he will approach the line now to take race 2 here at Interlagos. What a good drive it was. He started in second position, lost out early on to Richard Warmingham. But yeah, what a performance that was from Michael Evdoka. And just coming across the line, I think it's Thompson versus Malcolm there. Those two are very close, and I think Thompson has got that one by 0.01 of a second to take home 9th position. And that could be an important 9th position, because of course the finishing results of this race will decide the starting positions for race 3.
Yeah, and we have the final results from race 2 at Interlagos with Evdoka the winner. Warmingham is in second place and Lavelli in third. 0.6 of a second between these three guys here. Jamie Ayres, Bert Delman, Chris Dane, Kip Stevens, Ralph Varian, Josh Thompson and Scott Malcolm round up the top 10. Then it's Colin Robinson, Lee Woodburn, Max Wright, Lane O'Connor, Lee Dimmer, Anthony Jacobson finishing the race on the lead lap. And then, of course, the retirements, Michael Gray, Stuart McFadden, and I think that is that for this second race. And if everything stands, of course this has been a bizarre meeting, let's say that, we should have this as the starting grid for race 3.
Yes, I think so. And what a starting grid that's going to be. We didn't pay too much attention in the MT, the mid-pack. It was absolutely awesome all down the field. But that lead duo was absolutely awesome out there. Michael Docker taking away the race victory. But yeah, what can Josh Thompson do from 9th position on the grid? Could he fight for the race victory? He was so dominant in race 1. Lots of answers, lots of questions to be answered in race 3 of the evening. Certainly do not miss it. It's been an awesome day of action so far in the BSR GT. Certainly tune in for race 3 in about 20 minutes time. See you then.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Because here comes Holgate. He has the outside line through the final corner for the final time. Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Holgate? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
Welcome back to the BSR GT, the final race of the evening here at Interlagos. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Marco Barbanet with Sam Kume on the cameras. And Marco, we've seen two crazy races, two fantastic races, I must say, earlier on today. Hopefully this third race is going to be the same.
Yeah, getting ready as the cars are rolling and you see the starting grid scrolling on your screens there. Yeah, it's been a very interesting meeting, two very good races, some bizarre moments, and it all looks set for this 35-minute third race of the evening. Once again, the cars should make pit stop. It's not required, but unless they go for a crazy strategy, they will need to go in for a splash. And this means that basically, if you get damage early, you can go in and get the fast repair done. Or basically, the other thing that this means is that you can pit whenever you like, basically, because it's just a quick splash and then you are up. So a lot of strategies are open, as Michael Evdoka is starting from the pole position by virtue of winning the second race with Birmingham behind him. So this battle will continue in this third race, I believe.
Yeah, and what a battle it was last time. Of course, Birmingham's kind of got his wingman. I don't want to call him wingman. That sounds as though he's kind of worse. So despite Steve Lavelli being ahead of Birmingham in the championship, Birmingham and Evdoka need the points to help them in the championship already. The pack, and there's a bit of contact already. I think that was Daleman and Stevens, I think, and already Evdoka has gone, and it's an awesome start for Lavelli as well. And if anything, it's too good a start for Lavelli for Evdoka. He might even challenge him down into turn one. Daleman challenging Birmingham. It's an awful start for all those drivers on the even side of the grid. Heading down to turn one, it's Evdoka leading ahead of the Lavelli with Daleman looking for the move on Birmingham. Birmingham doesn't want to have another first lap incident, and Daleman moves himself up into P3, and Ayres goes through as well. It's an awful start for Richard Birmingham.
Yeah, Evdoka with a, dare I say, Lewis Hamilton restart, as now he's under attack from Lavelli on the outside. Great defending by Evdoka. It was very, very slow.
Oh, and contact. Ayres is round.
Yeah. And he's around.
McFadden trying to go through. Past Birmingham. Danes, sorry. Has he made that move, Dave? Danes is looking for P3. What about this? This is incredible. Just behind Cullinan and Stevens going wheel to wheel.
Great drama, great action. Unfortunately, the first casualty of the evening, as Danes is looking to get the move and going to P3. We saw Delman being a very... Oh, there's a car off. It's Woodburn, I think. Straight into the barrier. There is Mercedes there. Big damage there as Cullinan goes on the inside of Thompson now.
Yeah, Thompson trying to go around the outside of him, and he's going to go around the outside of him into turn 12. Josh Thompson, not the start he wanted necessarily. He's only gone up 2 positions. I say only, but his standards on a first lap, he'll be a little bit disappointed with that, and he does need to make up some progress. Nice and quick. Danes versus Daleman versus Birmingham is getting very interesting just ahead. And Birmingham trying to go for the move. Daleman is down the inside of Danes, and Birmingham's gone straight on, and there's contact, and Daleman's gone round. And is there going to be more contact as well? Yes, there is. Cullinan got involved in that one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Stevens round.
Keep Stevens rolling backward and losing a lot of position. In fact, he's last. Right now we see a replay here. This Senna is very, very been difficult for all these drivers, and it's left and right, and this can severely put a big mark on your race. And of course, what this driver will do right now, I think they will head for the pits as early as they can to get the car repaired.
Yeah, I think so. That'd be wise. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of time to turn 13 and down the various straights down here. And Daleman's so slow out there. I wonder if he's got critical damage on that car, just trying to get it round. It does mean that Thompson is up into P4. Danes is a comfortable P3 now with Scott Malcolm. How often have we said this? Scott Malcolm gaining positions from other drivers' mistakes. He's up into the top 5 and quite comfortably as well, ahead of Michael Gray, who's under pressure from Max Wright, I believe, and Rafe Cullinan as well. And here they are. Max Wright looking to the outside of Michael Gray. Gray up 11 positions from his start. How could he fight for a podium later on? And it's just side by side with Cullinan versus Wright, and Cullinan going down the inside right now.
Yeah, drivers trying to sort themselves out after this chaotic start. Evdoka, Lavalli and Danes 1, 2, 3, as we see battle basically for P6, 7 and 8 right now, as Malcolm is trying to build a gap on these guys that are on your screen right now, as once again Michael Evdoka under pressure from Lavalli here. For much of race 2 it was Evdoka, the guy putting pressure on the leader, and now the roles are reversed, and we'll see if one of these drivers will try something different on the strategy side of things.
Yeah, they are pulling away from the rest of the field. They'd be criminals, I think, to start fighting against each other, because they've got Josh Thompson homing in on them very quickly, and they kind of need to rely on Chris Danes to just hold up Josh a little bit, otherwise they're going to be very vulnerable by the end of this race. But right now I think Steve Labelli will be looking to go for the move on Michael Evdoka early on in this race. Not even 5 minutes in yet, and Steve Labelli is looking for a move on Michael Evdoka. Can he do what Evdoka did in race 2 on Warringham? No, he can't. He's just going to stick in behind.
Thompson gaining 8 tenths of a second on the race leaders on this lap, and he's looking to make quick work of the Ferrari in front of him, and he wants to join that lead battle as soon as he can. And of course he just posted the fastest lap of the race at 28.2, and time is on his side, being this the longer race of the evening, once again 35 minutes. So he has time and he has the pace, and we could very well see a three-way battle for the race win in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Robinson really close on Wright, by the way. I think they're side by side going into 6 and 7, but they have just sorted themselves out. Wright back ahead of Robinson. Sorry, no, Wright just holding off Robinson then. But now. But yeah, awesome battles all the way down the field as we've seen today. This has been one of the best BSR Grand Tour races I think I've ever commentated on. Really good turnout today. And yeah, the drivers driving superbly out there. It's very action-packed, this meeting. And it's not over and done with yet. Josh Thompson will be thinking that, because he's only 0.3 of a second behind Chris Danes at BMW. Not known for its straight line speed necessarily. But Danes looking very vulnerable. Now will Chris defend going into turn 1? No, I think he's going to let Josh Thompson have this one. And he's a little bit early on the brakes as Danes. Thompson up into P3, and he can see a race victory very, very soon up the road.
Another good lap from him, 28.6. The leaders 29.1, 29.1. So once again he made the pass, and he's already flashing his lights at the two guys in front of him. So he's saying, I'm here and get ready because I'm coming for you.
Evdoka a little bit slow out of turn 4 and 5, I think. Really looking for a move is Steve Lavelli. Maybe just thinking that he needs to get this move done right now so that he's not vulnerable from Josh Thompson imminently. But either way, I think Thompson's going to catch up. Evdoka defending well at the moment, out in the lead. But this does just look a little bit like a matter of time, I must say, Marco. Lavelli looking really strong.
He is looking very strong, and of course he knows that Josh Thompson is catching up to him and to Evdoka, so if he wants to win this race he has to pass Evdoka and try to build a gap as quick as possible. But I think that the driver with the best chance to win this race will be Thompson. I have the feeling that he is faster than these two guys, and if Lavelli can't make the pass, he's going to be Thompson's race.
Yeah, I think so. They kind of need to rely on something to happen to Josh Thompson, because he's so much faster than these two drivers. Even just with the pit strategy, I'm sure Thompson could engineer a move. But it will be very stern, the top two, I imagine. We have got a move for Rafe Cullinan past Scott Malcolm, by the way, up into P6 now, with Gray moving up into P5 as well. What a good race he's had, up 12 positions. Cullinan making that move stick on Malcolm now.
Yeah, another fastest lap of the race for Josh Thompson, 28.1, 29.3 for Evdoka, 29.5 for Lavelli. As we are focusing now on the battle for P10 with Wormingham on the inside of Dimmer, and I think that Wormingham has the position. Not a lot of... oh well. Side by side going into this corner here. Wormingham is ahead, but Dimmer has the inside, and he... Oh, sorry, it's the other way around. Wormingham has the inside and gets the position, I think.
Yep, so that's not really going to make Richard Wormingham happy, I think, because race 1 he qualified in 2nd position, got spun on the first lap, and it was quite a clumsy mistake from him earlier on to go straight on at turn 2, so turn 1. Otherwise, he might be in a podium position right now, maybe even hunting down the leaders, but there you go, and Richard Wormingham was very unlucky not to win race 2 as well, so maybe a day of what-ifs for Richard, who, whose showdown spot is not confirmed whatsoever. He needs to rack up a few more points, but at least Virkanen is within view for Josh Thompson. There is the 2 leaders. He's closing in even more on that last lap. He was 8 tenths faster than Michael Evdoka. And yeah, we're going to see a 3 battle any moment now, Michael.
Absolutely, you see on the right side of your screen on the map, first 2 guys are on top of each other, and Thompson is edging closer and closer and closer. Just a matter of time, he's gaining a lot. He's under 1 second of a gap between himself and Lavalli, and of course Evdoka is right in front of the number 38 car. So these 3 guys, like you can see now on board with Thompson, is very, very close.
And of course, if anyone's going to pull off an overtaking move, it's going to be Josh Thompson. Don't think he's going to have a chance into turn 1. He's just going to be a little bit too far behind. But closest, I think I've seen him yet. Steve Lavelli is right on the tail of Michael Evdoka. Heading through turn 13 now. Heading onto the pit straight. Lavelli goes to the outside. Evdoka seemingly with good straight line speed, and he is just pulling ahead again. Lavelli go for a little bit of a switcheroo down into turn 1. No. Thompson closing in on the 2 of them. I just couldn't quite get the run through that turn 1, could Lavelli. And I think this is what I was talking about earlier on, Marco, where you'd think this circuit is really easy to overtake around, but if you just position your car well, it's very difficult for the driver behind to overtake you.
Yeah, and that's why we've seen a lot of crashes, I think, because everybody gets a little bit impatient and want to make the move. They want to make the pass. They can't make the pass, and after a few laps of staying behind, they force the issue where they shouldn't force the issue, and that's when accidents happen. As Thompson all of a sudden is getting closer and closer to Lavalli, and I think he's thinking about a pass.
Yeah, the threatening thing here for Lavelli is that Thompson could go for a move in any one of these corners. He's so quick through this middle part of the circuit. They have it going to turn 12. That'd be a little bit unnecessary, I think, for Thompson. Quite getting a perfect drive through turn 12, although he is in range, but Lavelli has got a bit of a slipstream from Evdoka. So, he's going to win out this time. Thompson not really gaining. He is just starting to peg closer. You can see him pegging closer, closer, closer. Is Lavelli going to defend even? Thompson could go to the inside here. He is going to go to the inside here. But P2, and he is up into 2nd position now, Josh Thompson. Lavelli did not put up a fight, and I was a little bit surprised by that, Mark. I realised that Lavelli doesn't want to lose touch with Evdoka, but I think it's worth keeping Josh Thompson behind whenever you can. Otherwise, he's going to be out of touch very, very soon.
Yeah, as Robinson and Wormingham get into the pits, I saw Lavelli for an instant. He tried to, as Evdoka goes in the grass, this opened the door for Thompson. Let's see. On the outside. Oh dear. Can he make it stick?
Evdoka will not like this one bit. He needs to try to push Thompson off a little bit, but Thompson has gone around the outside through 6, 7 and 8, and he had the inside for 9, and going into 10. He should have the positions sorted out, but Docker has come back. He's not giving up on this one, is Michael, and he's going to be on the outside here. Do turn 11, sorry, and he's going to look to the inside into turn 12. Now, the Mercedes needs to show all its grunt to up the hill now. If Docker's going to have a chance, he doesn't want to let go of this race victory, even though Thompson is considerably faster, seemingly. Thompson's going to have to do some pretty hard defending down into turn 1 because Docker is going to do whatever he can to take back that race lead. But he's got to watch out for Lavelli just behind. Docker going to the inside, and he might even get touched down, and he might even touch Thompson as well. But in the end, they stay the same through that first corner, and now Thompson has got the lead. I think he might be off into the distance.
What a fantastic pass from Thompson. Evdoka made a mistake, and that was all Thompson was waiting for. He went on the outside, then on the inside, side-by-side racing, I think, for alpha lap around the São Paulo circuit, and a well-deserved move from Thompson. I think that was one of the best passes I've seen all season in this series.
Yeah, there's just nowhere defending against Josh Thompson, is there? Because you defend one way, and it looks like it's impossible for Thompson to go around the outside, and somehow he does. It's quite incredible. I remember he went around the outside at the 2 Degners at Suzuka last season. One of the most incredible moves I've ever seen. And he's pulled off another awesome move there, and he's already a second clear of Michael Evdoka. He's going to just have to be looking in the mirrors from Steve Lavelli, I think, for the rest of this race. So yeah, of course you did mention, Marco, how Warmingham, O'Connor and Robinson all pitted. Warmingham tried the undercut last time. Sorry, and it's just under pressure now as Evdoka going into turn 1. Just cannot find that inside line at the moment. That's the line that he wants, but I think it's a good call from Warmingham this to pit early. At Indianapolis last time, I don't know if you noticed, Marco, but Warmingham pitted super early, nearly got the super undercut on every other drivers as they all had their issues. But I think this undercut for Warmingham, after being in a big pack of cars, was the wise decision.
Absolutely, and of course the reverse side of the coin there is that when everybody else pits, he will have to fight the traffic, and sometimes will have to fight, or he will catch already now on the track cars that are a bit slower than him. But it worked for him at Indianapolis, even though it was aided by the fact, like you were saying, that all the other competitors were basically making mistakes left and right, so I don't think it's going to be that as efficient as last week. But still a good call. You have nothing to lose when you're sitting that far behind in the pack.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, maybe a top 5 is possible for him, although I think Michael Gray is looking strong, so maybe 6th position for Richard Moore is as good as it's going to get. Evdoka under pressure again from Lavelli, and it's got a bit of a repetitive tone to it, I must say. Lavelli, can he stop this repetition and finally move ahead of his rival? Evdoka down the inside into turn 1. Lavelli not even trying to go around the outside there. I think Marco, he needs to have a go around the outside into turn 1 because he keeps on trying to get the cutback. It's not really working for him at the moment.
Well, it's either that or he sacrifices that corner to make the pass here, even though they are both Mercedes cars, so there will not be much difference in the speed here on the backstretch. One thing that as Evdoka goes a little bit wide once again, I don't think Lavelli will be able to profit from this mistake. One thing I say we should keep an eye on is the pit entrance, because you get there at a ludicrous speed, and I would be surprised if some of the drivers would get a speeding penalty when they get in, especially if they are under pressure when they come into the pits. Especially since these cars have the ABS system, so you think you can make the car stop in a short amount of distance, but in reality it takes a bit longer because of the ABS system.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, 15 seconds out there. Not exactly what you want to, not exactly what you want to lose. That would put, for example, Evdoka, well, I'd only put him in P5 to be fair, maybe under pressure from Warmingham as well. don't know what the rules are, Marco, in terms of the pit entry line. Are you allowed to cross it, or do you have to be 100% within it all the way?
I think you can cross it and go straight in at the last second. I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, of course the opposite for the pit exit, because you have to be inside with 2 wheels all the time of that white line you see on your screens right now on pit exit.
Max Wright into the pits now. So Wright was having a decent run. I think he was about 10th position.
Now I don't want. I'm sorry, Sam. I was just looking at the pit times, and everybody's pitting around 7 to 8 seconds, and Colin Robinson had a 26-second stop. So maybe he made a mistake and is selected to change the tires, or well, maybe he got a speeding penalty. So have to be absolutely careful when you get in the pits.
Yeah, would it be a speeding penalty? Still would be quite long for him. It would still be 11 seconds if it was, so could have been. Whatever it was for Colin Robinson, considering that he gets a faster pair. Don't really know why that would happen, but he is a long way off, and his showdown chances maybe being put into a bit of jeopardy, because yeah, it would lose him some points in comparison to some other drivers out there. And he doesn't exactly want that currently, the driver in 5th in the showdown chances. And here comes Jamie Ayres trying to fight against Lee Deemer. Been a frustrating day for Jamie Ayres, just had something go wrong for him in most races seemingly. Deemer into the pits.
Yeah, and once again Evdoka and Lavalli side by side almost. Well, not side by side, they were almost side by side on the backstretch, but once again Evdoka emerges victorious from the battle. See the pit time for Lee Deemer, 7.3 seconds. Of course, yeah, around 7-8 seconds is the pit stop, so this is a good time. I'm sure some drivers will bet and maybe put a little bit less fuel. Maybe they will try to get as little fuel in as possible. Of course, every second is important, and that could be, of course, a problem later in the race. As we see, these drivers basically are using this penultimate corner, the runoff area, as a racing line all the time, basically. And when you get, once again, say a league race, you don't get really affected on your safety rating, so you basically use your allotted incident points to gain as much time as you can.
Lavelli again, trying to go around the outside of Michael Evdoka. He has not got it still. Although this is a much better run, and Evdoka is all over the place. But look at that, Lavelli kind of has to get out to the top, and all that momentum that he had has kind of been a bit halted. That he said there was room on the inside there. I feel as though Lavelli's got to go for the inside if there's even half a car's width, because that's going to be his best chance. And Evdoka hangs on. I can't forget that. Of course, I can see the incident amounts. Currently, Kip Stevens got 22 incidents. He's got the most, with Jamie Ayres and Josh Thompson with 11. Richard Warmingham actually has 18 out there. But Michael Evdoka only with 3 and Steve Lavelli with 1. So these are 2 of the cleanest drivers out on the circuit. Good to see.
Anthony Jacobson is in the pits and coming out with an 8.5 second stop, so a good stop for him. Nice, this battle for 7th place, brewing up nicely with Ayres and Malcolm. Of course, we talked about Malcolm, always a consistent driver. And Jamie Ayres has had his fair share of trouble tonight. He's trying to make up as much positions as possible. He's the last driver without a pit stop. Everybody behind him has been in the pit lane.
So can Malcolm repel this attack one more time against Jamie Ayres? We can pretty much guarantee that Malcolm's going to stay out for as long as possible. That seems to be his tactic most Sundays. But here comes Jamie Ayres. Malcolm isn't going to put up too much of a fight, seemingly. As down the inside, though Malcolm's going to hang around the outside, just about gives in though. He doesn't want a collision, he just wants a nice solid result, but Ayres is through up into 7th position. Actually, Rafe Cullinan has not had superb pace just ahead, so yeah, could be very catchable as Cullinan, of course, Warmingham, Wright and Dima will factor into this once these guys make their pit stops later on.
Getting closer and closer to the final 10 minutes of the race. The first 8 guys have yet to stop. Everybody behind them has stopped. Our race leader is here. Josh Thompson flashing his lights. Maybe he knew he was on camera. I have no idea. That was great timing.
We've had this conversation though before, Marco. Unless he's got a time machine, he cannot do that.
Yeah, and he gets in the pits as well. So great timing from Sam Kumo behind the cameras. Or maybe he's like me, that I just press the flashlights button randomly during the lap when I'm bored. I don't know what.
Well, I think so, yeah.
Let's see, he's in the pits, pit timer counting, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 12 seconds.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, wasn't it?
12.7 seconds, very long stop, maybe got a bit more fuel than needed.
Cullinan's round. Just, we heard the tyre squeal, and Cullinan's lost a position to Ayres, he's lost a position to Malcolm, and actually that's going to lose him a position to Wright and Dima, I think, once he comes into the pit, so that's costly for Rafe Cullinan.
Malcolm, I think, tried to make a move, but Cullinan was able to get up to speed quick, and he was able to defend at the end of the back straight. So 12 seconds and 0.7, so I think that Thompson just put a little bit more fuel than needed, maybe, just as a safety measure. And now we'll see if Evdoka and Lavalli will respond, or if they will stay out.
In. Good to see from Lavalli to kind of be trying to force the issue. And he will have one lap of undercut. Unfortunately, he's going to quite come out into traffic. He's going to be around Scott Malcolm and Rafe Cullinan, I believe. Steve Lavalli gets stopped on his marks. He should be stationary for about 7 seconds.
Yeah, 7.75 as Cullinan is also in, so a much quicker stop from Lavalli than Thompson.
And actually he stayed ahead, hasn't he? That's crucial. So he's actually ahead of Jamie Ayres. You can see actually not far behind Thompson either. That really was a bad pit stop for Josh Thompson. But yeah, Lavalli not in traffic, and what a lap this has got to be now, Marco, if he's going to get the undercut on Michael Evdoka.
Yeah, and this means that Evdoka could possibly get out very, very close to Thompson as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see when Evdoka pits. I think he has a lot of clear track ahead of him, so you know what? I wouldn't stress if I was Evdoka. I would wait just a little bit before I get into the pits.
He needs to hope that Thompson has some kind of issue out there. Was it just a poor pit stop? Because he was about 7 seconds in the lead. He only lost about 4 seconds with his pit stop to Thompson. So maybe there's another issue for him. Chris Daines is into the pits now. Because when Cullinan came out of the pits, he was behind Dima and Wright. Gray is also into the pit. So Gray could be near Warmingham, I think. Daines is going to be pretty lonely, I think. We're just in 4th position, I believe.
So Thompson 28.9, Evdoka 29.4. The gap is 20 seconds, exactly 20 seconds, and Evdoka has stayed out this lap. So we'll see if he will come in at the end of this lap. Everybody has pitted except for Evdoka and Scott Malcolm.
So Gray came out. Oh, he's miles ahead of Warmingham. Okay, so Gray's 6th, Warmingham is 7th. And yeah, it's all pretty much spread out, I think, for the drivers out there. Apart from the Dima, Wright, Cullinan and Stevens battle. That one's still brewing. 4 cars all in a chain. We'll keep an eye out on that. Michael Docker will be approaching the pit lane right now. We'll see on lap 18 if he will pit, and into the pits he is.
Oh, these guys are a bit lucky that the pit entrance and the cones are uphill, so they can shed a little bit more speed if they are a little bit too fast. And the poleman stops on the final pit stall, and we'll see the time.
Needs to be so quick if he's going to stay ahead of
And it's a long
Lavelli.
stop. 10
Oh
seconds.
dear.
10 seconds.
He's going to be behind, isn't he? Avdoka's got it all to do in these final couple of laps, because Steve Lavelli has got the undercut on him. Perfect strategy from Lavelli, and in the end, it was those couple of seconds. He lost 2.5 seconds in comparison. He is 1.3 seconds behind. And, Michael Avdoka has really lost out there. Lavelli, he's losing it straight after.
Yeah, Scott Malcolm is out as well. He was the final guy to pit. 7.3 seconds is his stop. So after Indianapolis, no one tried to stay out until the end of the race. Once again, they tried. A couple of drivers tried that move at Indianapolis and did not work for them.
Yeah, I saw Dima being trying to be pushed across the line. Yeah, that was quite a sight to see.
As now on the screen we have the pit stop strategy. You see the pit stop time for each of the top 10 drivers. As we get set to enjoy the final 5 minutes of the race, and I think that Avdoka has to push extremely hard if he wants to catch Lavalli. Lavalli hasn't been there's contact there. I think it is Max Wright has been hit by Ralph Cullinan there, and Kip Stevens trying to get an advantage out of it. That was a pretty hard hit on the back of Max Wright's car. I was saying that Lavalli has been steady, if not spectacular, but steady, and steady sometimes gets you a better result than very fast, but still all to play. Similar pace between these two, and these 3 guys here are trying to get moved on into the first corner.
I don't know, with those BMW brakes, notoriously very good. And he needs them to be very good if he's going to get past Max Wright, who has spent the majority of this race, unfortunately, just dropping down the field seemingly. Just not got the pace, and Scott Malcolm's only just ahead. So Cullinan, after a spin earlier on, you think where he would have been if it weren't for that. He's trying to put that to amends, and Stevens could be into the back of him. I don't know how Stevens avoided that. That was a bit dangerous from Cullinan there, moving very late on in the straight. Once again, Wright having to go defensive. Cullinan looks to the inside into 6. He's not quite there. Ah, here we go, down into... Oh, no, I thought he might have a go into that one. I think this is turn 9. 10 is an opportunity, quite a wide entry. Not there once again. Malcolm kind of escaping from these drivers currently. They've got probably 2 more laps, I think, after this one, maybe 3.
Oh, look at this.
Stevens is all over the back of Cullinan. We had no idea. Stevens then, nice little close-up of that car, maybe even going inside the car. And Stevens just having to drop back a little bit. There was an opportunity maybe to go to the inside there for Stevens. Cullinan, though, fending it off nicely. With Wright still in that 10th position.
It was extremely close, and sometimes when you bump the car in front of you, especially in that part of the track there, you can cause a collision, a crash. Luckily, nothing like that happened, as of course now Wright under the attack of Cullinan once again. Cullinan seems to like this part of the circuit. Maybe we'll go for a lunge on the inside here. he won't. And now, of course, Stevens will try to once again pass the Irish driver in front.
Must be so frustrating for Cullinan and Stevens, because they can see the likes of Malcolm Deemer and even Ayres as well just ahead, and they know that they're faster than those drivers. But unfortunately, they've got the pesky Max White.
Oh, Stevens is around.
Stevens is around. Yeah, that wasn't contact, was it? That was just a mistake.
No, I think he just made a mistake on his own, and now he's in the grass. Let's see the replay. Yeah, he lost it coming out of the corner there, of the Junso corner. And that will be his race, I fear, because he's sitting last of the drivers on track. And I think he's still stopped there in the runoff area. Yeah, he's doing some exploration there, like Bear Grylls style on the hills there. There's a lot of lakes in this side of the name Interlagos, of course, means between lakes. So, you know, you get a lot of natural and artificial lakes here. It's always interesting, as we see once again Cullinan trying to make the move on right, as the leader takes the white flag.
Yep, Josh Thompson leads by 4.5 seconds. Just quickly back to Kip Stevens, because if I say when Raikkonen gets lost to anyone, they'll click with a couple of people into the barrier fans. But yeah, awesome. Anyway, yeah, Thompson nearly 5 seconds out in the lead currently, and just pulling away after that pit stop. Very much that his race in threat. He is only half a lap away now from the race victory. And look at this. Deemer, is he slow? Deemer's into the pits.
And Ayres is in the pits as well, so
what has
some
happened?
fuel miscalculation, I think. That's it. The only logical explanation I can give to you, as too low of fuel put into the car, 2 liter fuel put into the car at the stop. Both guys are in. Don't seem to be any kind of damage that would require like a mandatory stop there.
Oh, well, he's taking tires as well. Is Jamie. Actually, Josh Thompson is only, I think he might be going through turn 12 right now. He's very close to the finish. He's going through turn 13. Josh Thompson, race 1 winner. He wasn't on pole for race 2, but this race 3, he has been absolutely dominant. He's going to take the race victory from 9th on the grid, and it was with ease in the end with Steve Lavelli. What a good performance from him to finally beat Michael Abdoka in 2nd and 3rd positions, and Thompson is very pleased with that one. Still got battles going on. Max Wright versus Cullinan versus O'Connor. They're going into the last few corners with Stevens a lap down. He still wants a little bit of pride out there. Max Wright, though, a strong exit, and Cullinan just has not been able to force the issue. It'll be Malcolm in 7th, Wright in 8th, Cullinan in 9th, and O'Connor seemingly in 10th place. A race for a couple of those drivers, really important for their showdown chances, and that's how it will end.
Yeah, we are waiting on 4 drivers to finish this race. Jacobson is on the start-finish line. We're basically waiting for Robinson and the 2 late stoppers, Deemer and Ayres. With Ayres that also took tires, like you noticed, Sam, so he's going to be last of the cars on the lead lap. Stevens 1 lap down, Delman and Woodward are out, so we are almost ready to give you the final race results.
Yeah, Costline will come. Jamie Ayres in 14th position, and we can now take you to the final results. It's Josh Thompson taking away the race victory. Awesome performance in the end, got it by 4.7 seconds over Steve Lavelli. Maybe if he'd overtaken Abdoka earlier on in the race, maybe he would have been able to properly fight Thompson. Who knows in the end? But yeah, Lavelli, really strong day for him, probably his strongest result of the season in second, with Michael Abdoka third. I think he'll take that result after not such a good season. A first and a third for him today, that'll be pretty good. Chris Dames finishes in fourth. He was very much just hanging about in fourth. Good drive from him in his throw, with Michael Gray moving up from 17th to 5th. Really good drive, with Richard Warman closing in on him near the end in 6th. Scott Malcolm ended up in 7th. That's good for his championship, for his showdown chances. There's Max Wright in 8th, with Cullinan in 9th, with Lane O'Connor 10th. It's Anthony Jacobson, Colin Robinson, Lee Deemer, and Jamie Ayres took tyres at the end. Kip Stevens got lost. Bart Delman finished 22 laps down, with Lee Woodburn 23 laps down. And the final finisher of out there. And hopefully we'll get some interviews, and of course we can always rely on Josh Thompson being around with us. And Josh, well done, mate. Races 1 and 2, victory, and yeah, you look sweet out there today.
Sorry, your mic was so loud, then this call had a massive spasm, so I had to take my headset off. Oh my god.
Well, I heard that as well. I thought that was on your end, but yeah. Anyway, really strong out there. Well done.
Yeah, it was actually quite good. Jesus, I'm surprised I've not woke up the entire house with that.
Sorry.
That's alright. No, overall, quite a good run. It was quite. Obviously, I felt quite bad for race 2 because obviously the grid was wrong. I knew the two people out of position, so I opted to start at the back, which is I knew I had to do anyway. So I didn't really mind doing that. But yeah, getting taken out twice in that race, if I had no luck at all, so bit of a redemption in race 3.
Yeah, it was really entertaining for us, and we want to see lots of contacts. But I must say, I don't know what your point of view is. We saw a lot of incidents out there, a lot of unnecessary incidents. Of course, don't necessarily criticise your fellow drivers, but I must say the driving standards out there, the racing out there, was maybe a little bit below average.
Yes and no. Most of the standards are actually quite good. It's just I had some good racing coming through with some good people. It's just in some cases, there's some people I don't think are used to the GT3 specs, so you're not in the touring cars where you can rub. In GT, you can rub, but you do have to give that little bit of room. And I think in both my case, I think especially in the first one, I think Max just outbroke himself with the ABS and the Mercury just ploughed straight on. There's admin that the Lane O'Connor one in turn 1. I don't know what happened. That was half around the corner and just got absolutely wiped out from behind. So, but overall, the stance weren't actually that too bad.
Yeah, and of course in race 3, you kind of got the lead, pulled away a bit, but that pit stop sequence wasn't great. I don't know if you made a mistake or something. You had a slightly slower pit stop, but they nearly lost you the race lead at one point. Just take us through what happened there.
Took a lot of fuel to try something out for tomorrow.
I
was going to try and take tyres, but it had just been too much of a gap to make back up. So I was just trying to find out I wanted to see what the undercut would be and the overcut would be like. And I know with Michael staying out, it'd be quite a good reference. I know he's quite quick. He didn't have the pace here today, but he's usually quite fast. So I wanted to see what extra 2 laps or 3 laps of fuel saving might make up in the race tomorrow, with it being a 2-hour race. With the pit stops being quite crucial for strategy. So I wanted to play that card, and staying out longer, trying to get the fuel to last is definitely way faster.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, don't tell everyone in the World GT there. But yeah, of course, tomorrow looking forward to the World GT. And yeah, you feel like you're strong here? Do you think the BMW and your setup for this circuit is going to enable you to have a shot at the win?
I hope so. It's just this track's always been good for me. I've not actually driven it that much in GT3. Everyone thinks I've been driving it flat out. I drive the BMW flat out. This week I've been trying to get my safe rate up from after Spa 24-hour drop into a C license, so I've not really had time this week. So I've been driving a Pro Mazda all week at Montreal. But no, I go quite well around here. Obviously, I did a lot of laps around here. Did quite well in the Pro Series race here in the F1. And just with the amount of laps I've done, I pick up quite fast around this track. I could jump in not driving his car for a few days and go straight on the pace I had in that race. So, but I think tomorrow it'll be a lot harder. I know Nicole will be quite fast, but in tested yesterday, I definitely had the legs on him in race trim, which is quite handy. But you can't discount how fast they are in qualifying.
Yeah, definitely. That is certainly a strength of those cars out there. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, so you guys are broadcasting, good as always. Lee for getting all the sessions finally correct after a few mishaps with the grids and the rolling starts, so it's quite nice to get them all running. Radicals and all sponsors, so Six Sideways, Cranfield Simulation, Your Real Time, and Centrum.
Thanks, Josh. And
Thank
yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
We've also got Scott Malcolm with us, and well done, Scott. That was another good set of results. You've made yourself, you know, you're consistently getting these kind of top 10, top 8 finishes very regularly, and that's just going to help your points. And that showdown spot looking very promising now.
It's not bad, eh? I'm getting there. Pretty good night's work there today, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Across the AM Championship as well. I don't know how that works with the showdown and whatnot, but are you looking towards the AM Championship or maybe the overall as well?
I'm looking more towards the Championship. I finished second to Max last season in it, and I don't fancy finishing second again, so I'm going for that.
Yeah, that would certainly be an awesome effort. But Interlagos, how have you found this circuit this week?
I like this track. I found it pretty. I think the setup I had was pretty spot on. I was able to. I was basically throwing it down through the Serie A season. Usually, maybe a couple of seasons ago, I wouldn't have had either watched to try that. I can't say it online, can I? But yeah, it's get a lot more confident with this car.
Yeah, of course. You've been kind of getting very good at the first laps, I'd say, missing the first lap incidents and missing all the spins and whatnot going on around you. Would you say that just comes with experience? Because, you know, you've done pretty much 2 series now in this championship. Do you think your experience is helping you with that crash avoidance?
Yeah, oh definitely. The more series that you're on with different cars, you kind of start to learn what the other cars are doing, where they're going to spin off, how they're going to spin, and you just basically go the opposite way, if you know what I mean. It's just eased off, you know. If you see the yellow flags coming out, you see smoke, just ease off the brakes. You know, you're more likely to gain positions if you're still on the track than crashing into somebody else that's already crashed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think a few other drivers in this series might want to learn from that, because yeah, it certainly has profited you through this championship. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Just everybody for running this series, and obviously Apex for broadcasting it, and the Team Mad guys for helping me get up to speed in this car. And that's basically about it. And Max for putting up with me tonight. He was in the chat with me, so could have helped him and he could have helped me a wee bit. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, thanks Scott, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, okay. Hey, cheers guys.
So Marco, that was a really good round of the championship. I think you've only done a couple of these races before, but yeah, this series usually does provide, and today, particularly those races 1 and 2, so chaotic, and race 3 in the end, Josh Thompson coming from 9th on the grid to win. Really was a complete meeting today.
Absolutely, and I can't wait for next week. Of course, only 2 rounds left before the showdown, so Motegi and Phillip Island are two completely different tracks and quite tricky. Motegi is next week, so it could provide a lot of entertainment, good passing zones, very nice track, like basically all Japanese tracks, so can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be one to watch, because tomorrow we have got the World GT and it will be at Interlagos. I think it's like a 1 hour special race, so certainly tune in for that one. That should be very interesting. And then on Tuesday we've got the BSR M05 and we've got the Rickmo Tech Sports Car Series as well. On Wednesday we've got the Le Mans Series. On Thursday we've got the BSR TC. Saturday we'll have the return of the Euro V8, so that should be good. And then we'll be back with this series at Motegi, just as Marcus said, in the BSR Grand Tour. But for now, from me, from Market, and from Sam, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.